following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, accompanied by Bailey, from Dublin, Ireland, Lyra Valkyria!
You hear the roar of the WWE Universe back close to home, the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion, soaking in this European atmosphere just over a week from the Royal Rumble.
A hometown hero of sorts, a hero for everything she has accomplished in a very short time, but she's out here with Bailey, who I do consider one of the best women wrestlers of her generation. That is not a shot at anyone such as Becky Lynch, but I'm just saying Bailey has done it all in the WWE, and now she's able to give back to someone like Lyra Valkyria, and who knows, maybe it's one of these two women that win at the Royal Rumble.
Both punched their tickets this past Monday as the Royal Rumble is presented by Cricket. Join Cricket Nation and get reliable nationwide 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram.
And by Intuit TurboTax. Now this is taxes.
And this is a massive matchup and a huge opportunity for this one.
And her opponent, from Knoxville, Tennessee, representing American-made, Ivy Nile!
And we go from Bird Lady to Pitbull as the power and strength of Ivy Nile looks to make a big statement here tonight on YouTube.
This would be a massive win. Talk about building momentum, towards the Royal Rumble. Ivy Nile has been close to championships in the past, including the championship you've already talked about, the Women's Intercontinental title.
Indeed, she's been on the cusp of that several times ever since its inception. We talked about Lyra Valkyria and Bailey punching their tickets this past Monday to the Royal Rumble next Saturday, but Ivy Nile, a veteran of 2 Royal Rumble matches in her own right, and in those matchups, we've already seen some of that memorable displays of power.
I mean, she's power personified. I mean, pound for pound during her time in the Performance Center in NXT, she was always, when you walk into the gym in the Performance Center, there is a wall of men and women in terms of strength, agility, all their tests. She was always
I think she's
at
still
the
on
top, and that just shows you who she is as an athlete. And this was someone, too, that during the early days of her time in the Performance Center, even after workouts, would put 100-pound sandbags on her shoulders. I said bags. And would do laps around the Performance Center down in the heat of Orlando in the summer.
No one's ever knocked the work ethic of Ivy Nile. She's been searching for championship gold from NXT to Monday Night Raw, and right here in the thick of Royal Rumble season, looks to maybe gain another opportunity. Bailey getting some love here.
What about Lyra? Lyra!
That's what I'm talking about when it comes to Bailey. It's always amazing to be in this sort of atmosphere because you just never know what is going to happen when it comes to the WWE Universe when they come out to a show. They're always so impactful, they're so passionate, and that really is what, when you come over here and you start to think about what's going to happen, it's almost like you got to wonder if you're Ivy Nile right now. Hearing this, how does that change? Does that get in your mind? I mean, these are all these things that go on for a competitor.
Very well could throw off her game. That power on display right here. Lyra, nice counter. Northern Light suplex variation. Only gets 2, but Vic, going back to Lyra Valkyria and Bailey as a tag team, do they have a rightful claim to the women's tag team titles?
I don't like to say rightful claim because I believe you have to earn those opportunities. With that being said, yes, I do think they deserve an opportunity. When does that come? Maybe sooner rather than later.
Shoulders down. Lyra only gets 2, but look at Lyra continuing on the offense and pivoting.
And we do know that those championships will be defended this Saturday at Saturday night's main event in Montreal.
The Judgment Day certainly has a huge opportunity, but Vic, if you go back over a week ago on Monday Night Raw, neither Lyra nor Bailey's shoulders were pinned in that triple threat tag team.
And I mean, I get what the argument is, and I understand where you're coming from. Look at this innovative submission right now. Bailey loving what she sees. Ivy Nile, maybe not as much.
Talk about getting in the head of the pit bull here. As Lyra looking to add another feather to her collection.
Oh, and trying to transition. Nice.
Oh, shoulders are down.
Go crucifix style, and that's what's so special about Lyra Valkyria. When she gets in the ring, she's just so crafty with everything she can do. Her body positioning, being able to go from a unique submission like we saw and transitioning that into a pin, and that's what will make her a champion again here in the WWE.
Of course, the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion, former NXT Women's Champion. She won the tag team titles last year at WrestleMania with her former mentor, Becky Lynch. And then right now in the outstretched arms of Ivy is Ivy trying to reassert that power. Ooh! That's certainly one way to swing the tie.
And who was she originally supposed to team with?
Bayley.
Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? And maybe that's something that's still on Bayley's mind, which
Here we go, Ivy.
you could give more credence to possibly wanting to finally hold the women's WWE tag team titles.
Are you trying to stir the pot again?
I would never.
I know Becky Lynch watches main event. She already heard your comments earlier.
Well, I'm just saying, you got to get back in the good graces.
As the Pitbull right now in firm control here against Bayley. Of course, we saw the Creeds on main event a week ago. Right now, between the Creeds and Ivy Nile, are these three on the right path?
I mean, you got to get victories to be on the right path, and then you got to get one victory, you got to make it two. You get on the right path, you really got to build momentum. So once they can string together a series of victories, then I would say yes. But right now, Ivy Nile on the path to maybe picking up a big statement win here on main event.
Signature kick in the corner and a snap suplex. Shoulders are down. And that combination won't get Ivy Nile a victory. We did allude to that recent opportunity for the Women's Intercontinental Championship against the former champion Maxine Dupree. But how about what we saw this past Monday with Maxine and Natalya?
That just goes back to, I think, you got to go back several years, and you got to think of even several months and several weeks of all the training, all the work, and I can see maybe where Natalya's coming from. I think that's something that will play out, obviously, and then I think there's a little bit more than we know. That's probably a little bit more deep into the gut of Natalya, and it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what she says and what else she does to Maxine.
As Bayley trying to cheer on Lyra Valkyria right here. Lyra, of course, would love to get back into a singles position of championship contention, but of course, right now, that women's tag team division from Raw, SmackDown, to NXT really starting to heat up.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely stacked when you think about, how deep the women's division is across the WWE. It's hard to stand out, but one way to do that is to pick up a W.
Lyra trying to create some separation right here. As Ivy would love to get a big win, get her right back in a position to realize those championship goals.
Use that strength one more time. Body buckling for a moment on Ivy. Let's see now if Lyra can take advantage of that little slip from Nile.
And Valkyria trying to utilize this Irish momentum right here. Look at this combination dialed up. And Lyra now. Evades the attack of Ivy and a step up in Zaguri. And Lyra, we talked about her looking to add a feather to the collection. Maybe taking a feather right here to fly. As Valkyria, bam!
Well, Ivy's certainly not going to like what she just saw. Lyra flying through the air, and she might have to see it a second time. Valkyria perched, poised, up top.
Stunning the Pitbull. Lyra from all the way upstairs. Cross body into the cover. Shoulders are down.
Not be able to power out and get that right shoulder up. You see Bayley. Bayley thought this was over.
Bayley really trying to get behind Lyra right here. We've seen that friendship blossom on Monday nights over the last couple of months. Looking for Nightwing. Nice counter here.
Beautiful counter.
Trying to go for that Dragon Sleeper as Ivy. She's tapped out several superstars with that. And Nile with a roundhouse kick. Shoulders are down. Leg is hooked.
Yeah, that was such a great counter by Ivy, and you talked about that Dragon Sleeper. Yeah, it was locked in. She's going for it a second time. Let's see if she can cinch it this time. Couldn't quite grasp the first time she had it in. Second time will be a charm.
The Pitbull trying to lock those jaws right here.
Look at Lyra. Look at Lyra.
They're going to get her in the center of the ring, but Valkyria here being very resourceful.
And Bayley on the outside, coaching her up.
Creates that separation. Ooh. Innovative offense now by Lyra. Swinging the tide right back to her direction. The WWE Universe getting behind the Bird Lady.
Hoisting up Nile.
Up and down. Night wing. An important feather from Lyra's collection.
There is your winner, Lyra Valkyria!
Well, Bayley energized, as is the WWE Universe. It's got to be a great feeling for Ivy Nile here on Main Event.